All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament Seattle Regionals here at Climate Pledge Arena and the Practice Day press conferences for Seattle Region 3. Joining us right now is Tennessee head coach Kelly Harper. Coach, we can begin with an opening statement, and then we will open it up to questions.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. We're, got into town and look forward to the day on the court and getting our prep work done. Our team is really excited about the opportunity that we have and, look forward to the challenge that's ahead of us.
All right, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll have Kelly and Bess bring the mics around to you. We'll start up front.
Cora Hall with the Knox News Sentinel. Kelly, obviously beating ranked teams was the hump that your team had to get over the whole season. LSU finally broke through that. Now facing Virginia Tech, what was so key about being able to get over that hump, and what helped in that you guys can carry into tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think our growth throughout the season has been positive. I think we have learned how to play better together. I think our defense has improved. I think our rebounding has improved throughout the course of the season. And I think, the grit and toughness that we had in the SEC tournament and those, especially in that semifinal game, really gave us the opportunity to get that big win.
Hi, Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. How helpful is it in preparation that you're facing a team that you played in December, and obviously with that being a loss, anything you are hoping to replicate defensively and need to improve upon offensively from the first meeting?
Well, it's so long ago, and our team looks quite different than we did back then. But at the same time, I think Virginia Tech has improved in areas as well. So I think you go back and you look at that game and you try to take things out, both positive and negative. But also, it's probably more important that you know your scout now and who the team is now, being how they've played in their tournament run, how they when I say tournament run, I'm talking about the ACC tournament, but also at the end of the season. And I think it does help that your players are familiar with the opponent, but in terms of the scout, I think you've got to go a little bit more recent.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. Individually, it seems like Rickea has been very consistent throughout the whole season, but what changed around the start of SEC play that made her more impactful towards your team's success?
Yeah, I think we did a better job as a staff putting her in position to be successful. I think we moved her around quite a bit to take advantage of her strengths, which a big part of her strength is her versatility, her ability to score inside, but at the same time, her ability to take people off the dribble as well. I think she's really bought in. I think she played hard. Has been very consistent because of those things.
Doug?
Hey, Coach. Doug Feinberg, the AP. There were such high expectations at the beginning of the season. I mean, there always are at Tennessee, but you guys were ranked high in the preseason poll. Things were expected of a great season. And you talked about the growth. When did you see, or what did you see that changed from early on when things weren't going as well as you probably expected early on to where you are now of playing great? I think you were only the second team to win in the first two games of the NCAA tournament by 45 points a game, which obviously is a very good way to head into this weekend.
Yeah, I think early on we were really trying to figure out who we were. We're trying to figure out lineups. We're trying to figure out combinations on the court. There were a lot of things that we had to work through that our schedule didn't allow. Our early schedule was challenging, and we just had no margin for mistakes. And you could not play through some things. You couldn't experiment with some things and get a win at the same time. It was difficult. I think what has helped us is our players' belief in this team. They never wavered in their belief on who this team could be and where this team could go. They continued to practice hard. If you're not bought in, you don't get better. You don't see the improvement that our team has seen, and I appreciate them for sticking with that early schedule and embracing what we threw at them, and it's helped them. It gave them adversity to overcome.
In the back.
Hi, Kelly. David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. You mentioned knowing your scout. What, in your mind, is so different about this Virginia Tech team now, looking, previewing tomorrow, versus when you maybe played them back in December?
Yeah, I think they're just a little sharper offensively. I think Georgia's probably taking some more shots, I think, now than she was when we played them early. I think they've got some tweaks within their offense now that's a little bit more scout heavy. I think they really have an identity, and they're playing to that identity right now, especially in the offensive end. And they've mixed some things up defensively. I think you grow as a team in that regard as well, and how they need to play each and every game. But they're just playing with great confidence right now.
If you are in the Zoom room and you want to ask a question, please raise your hand, and we'll get to you here soon. Lindsay.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Hi, Kelly. To your point about, the team kept believing, it can be really demoralizing to lose games that you're supposed to win, especially when you have all these high expectations and you're Tennessee, you're still a giant in the sport. Who was it on the team that, refused to let everyone else give in?
I think it was several players, and you're right. It could have. I've mentioned this before. Those early losses could have broken a lot of teams. I really do believe that, and I think our upperclassmen, our returners, our veterans, were the ones that stayed true with the belief in who we were. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know of anybody in the locker room that wavered, and. When you have so many positive voices speaking to what your team can do and your belief and the belief in each other, it's pretty powerful.
Go ahead.
You said last year at the Sweet 16, sometimes you let yourself think about what it would be like to take this program back to a Final Four. I'm just curious, what it would mean to you as a coach for the players to be a part of that, as someone who helped build the legacy at Tennessee, to watch them help build the legacy as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see our players be able to accomplish their goals. I'd love to see them be rewarded for, hanging in there this year and sticking with the game plan. I'd love to see them rewarded for their hard work and for their belief in this program and in this team in particular. I've been there. I get it. I understand what it is. I want them to be able to experience it. It's so special.
Over here, and then to Mark.
Hey, Ben Pickman from The Athletic. Hey, Kelly. What has this week been like for you? Did you hear from any mentors, former teammates of yours, in terms of providing congratulations, advice, and how has your preparation been different this year than maybe in past Sweet 16 experiences you've had?
I think I'll start with that one first. I think every year is different. I think as a coach, you have to decide what that particular team needs, how they're playing, where the deficiencies are, where you want to improve, who your opponent is. We actually took a couple days off this week to make sure our legs are under us, and then had a really good practice yesterday. Yesterday was a very long day. I'm sorry. I have to think back. I think every year you reevaluate and reassess what your needs are. Now, we go back and we look at historically what we've done in the past, but I think for us that was the schedule that we felt the most comfortable with. I did. I heard we actually had I had a small group of former Lady Vols show up to practice yesterday to wish us well. Trying to think, I have heard from quite a few folks just, with well wishes and congrats after the first two games.
Circling back to that first meeting, I don't believe Jackson played in that first meeting, and I think Key did. How much is, having Jackson in the lineup this time around and not having Key, how much does that change, the team you're bringing to the court tomorrow? And then in terms of your defense, I think you held Kitley to 3 baskets in that first meeting and Amor to 2. What's kind of the defensive keys to kind of maybe being as stifling with them tomorrow?
Well, Tamari Key defensively has been outstanding against Liz Kitley in the 2 games that we've played in the last 2 years. So that obviously is a big hurdle that we'll have in front of us that we'll have to work through. Rickea Jackson, Jillian Hollingshed, and Jasmine Franklin did not play in that first game. They give us athleticism and rebounding, and obviously with Rickea, a big scoring punch. I just think we look different. I think we play a little different than we played back then. It seems like ages ago when we went back and watched the game. I was a little overwhelmed at how different we looked, and a lot of that's just personnel.
Blake said we have to introduce ourselves before every question. So Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. First, will you tell us who the former Lady Vols are that showed up yesterday at practice?
Oh, if I can remember all their names. Debbie Jennings, a longtime SID, brought a group over. Shelley Collier. It was some folks from the 80s.
Okay.
Sorry.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, Kelly, was obviously you've been in this position as a player and as a coach. Do you like one more than the other? Do you feel more relaxed as a coach, more stressed as a coach, playing in the Sweet 16 versus when you were a player?
Oh, I think it's much harder as a coach. Players, you just show up and play. I mean, give me the game plan, coach. I'm ready to go. Coaches, we're trying to figure out how to make our players feel good, what meals they need to eat, when they need to eat, where we need to go. Do we need to watch this film, break it down? What's our scout going to look like? And then you try to figure out your game plan. There's a whole lot more to be done as a coach to get it right. And as a player, literally, you just look at your itinerary, show up where you're supposed to show up. It's much easier. And at the same time, when you get to the court, you control more as a player. You're the one that gets to go out there and make the plays.
Mara with the Seattle Sports Commission. You briefly mentioned some alum. We've got Mercedes Russell here that plays for the Seattle Storm. How does it feel? Have the players started to get a little bit excited? You haven't had practice yet. You're about to walk onto the court where the four-time WNBA champion Seattle Storm play, where a prominent alumni plays. What's the energy now that everybody's getting into this building, getting into play mode?
Yeah, I think this is obviously a really fun day to be able to take that court for the first time and get out there and, sweat a little bit and feel good about what you're doing. They've been pretty good thus far. This morning we had a film session. We had breakfast, had a film session. They've been pretty even killed. But I think they'll be really excited to take the court today. And they understand what this is. They understand how big of an opportunity it is, and I don't think they take it for granted.
Yeah, Kelly, David Cunningham, Tech Sideline again. You mentioned that some of those early season struggles, not every team might be able to overcome that. To where you guys are now, what has been the key to success lately? What do you like so much about how you guys are playing heading into tomorrow's matchup?
Well, I think we've just improved on in a lot of areas. Our defense was really good in the first two rounds of the NCAA tournament. Our rebounding has been very solid, pretty consistent going down the stretch in the regular season. Our offense has been efficient at times. We have some people that can be really hard to guard because of just their versatility with Jordan Horston and Rickea Jackson, Jillian Hollingshed. I think we have some folks that can score. I think we've done a better job offensively knowing how we need to play, knowing the pace we need to play, and trying to play to our strengths.
Doug, you'll have our last question.
Doug Feinberg, DAP. Kelly, you've had success with the transfer portal. When you played, there was no transfer portal, or kids would maybe transfer once in a while, but it wasn't like it is now, and it's obviously blown up to be this monster the last few years. Do you think that's the way this sport is going now? More try to find a kid who's a junior, or senior, or sophomore than looking for high school kids coming out who don't have as much experience and may enter the transfer portal themselves. They don't play after 1 year, whereas back in the day, you played for one of the toughest coaches ever, and I'm sure there were days you're like, why am I doing this? I want to transfer, but no one did. So.
Yeah, I think, we can evaluate it, we can comment on it, and, we can have opinions on it, both good and bad, but the reality is it's here, and you have to utilize it as an option. And, some coaches will use it more than others, but I think it has to be a viable option for you. And, it's been really positive for us. But I think as you continue to recruit, I think for us, I think it's important that we have a balance. You know, that we have high school players, but we also look for those experienced college athletes that you know what you're getting. I think that's the biggest. When you're looking at the positives of the portal, I think that the biggest thing is this is a proven college athlete that's in there, and you got to do your homework. You got to figure out who they are as people, because that's a big deal. The culture is a big deal, and we're proud of our culture, and we want to make sure we maintain it.
We're out of time. Coach, thank you very much.
All
Appreciate it.
Thank
Good luck
you.
tomorrow.
All right.
And we'll have our Tennessee student athletes in here momentarily. All right, student athletes joining us on the dais from Tennessee, Jordan Walker, Jordan Horston, and Rickea Jackson. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions at this time.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. For any of you, when Tamari, had to step away during, December, what was the biggest change that you had to make in your game, and how long did it take you guys to figure out your new identity?
For me personally, it was just my one-on-one defense. Because when you have a 6'5" in the center, you can take your player down there, and she's probably gonna send that out of bounds. So I think my one-on-one defense had to go better in that aspect. But also just as a team coming together and trying to fill the void that was left without her, and just stepping up and leading.
I feel like for me, I had to adjust my passes a lot because, she's 6'6". I just throw it, lob it up there. On pick and rolls, the reads were a lot different because we didn't have a 6'6" post player. But, we all came together. We knew that not one person could fill that void by ourselves because she played such a big role for our team. But we knew that collectively we could still, make a difference. Like I said, my defense, honestly, I had to adjust as well because, I couldn't get beat. We didn't have that rim protection anymore, so.
Yeah, I agree with them. My one-on-one defense as well. Just having a presence like that, people wouldn't just go in there on her like that. So I know, if I got beat, she had my back. So just basically focusing in on our defense one-on-one.
Alexa Phillip with ESPN. Rickea, you didn't get to, I'm over here.
Oh.
Sorry. You didn't get to play in the last Virginia Tech matchup earlier this season. I'm just curious, as you kind of think back about what this whole season has meant to you to be part of this Lady Vols program, where do you feel like you've grown the most and how you can help your team tomorrow in such a setting like the Sweet 16?
I feel like I've grown most in my efficiency and being a better one-on-one defender. I feel like this team is a totally different team from when we first played them, and we just overcame so much, and we're really letting our defense speak for itself. So I'm just excited to see what we do against them, and we're just going to do really good things.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Jordan, I think you had 26 points when you played Virginia Tech in December. What do you remember about that game, and what do you maybe want to replicate offensively to have a big game again tomorrow?
What I remember the most was ball screens. I'm going to have to fight over a lot of ball screens and, not leave any space. Their guard is shooting the ball pretty. I mean, she took 19 threes in the last game. Can't have that. So, just got to lock in defensively and just let my defense, dictate my offense.
Go ahead.
Cora Hall with the Knoxville News Sentinel. This is for all three of you guys because all three of you have played a part in helping rebuild this program. When you think about what it would mean to get to an Elite Eight, they'd be the first team to get back to Elite Eight or even further. What would that mean to you to be a part of that legacy?
For me, it would mean the world. This is my first NCAA tournament, so with that being said, like going to Elite Eight in my first year with this team, like that would just mean a lot. And of course, we want to go farther than that, but we got to take it step by step. So we just got to handle business with them.
For me, same. This is where we fell off last year in the tournament, and we want to change that narrative. I wasn't able to play as well, so I'm able to impact the game. I'm able to play. This is my way of thanking God for allowing me to be here. Just continue to give back and be a great teammate. And I feel like we've went through so much this season. I feel like we deserve it. I want to see everybody on this team shine, and I feel like we have all the pieces it takes to be the best team. We just got to go out and execute, and let us just play at the end of the day. And I'm really excited to see where we end up. But like every women's basketball player's dream is to make it to the Final Four, win a national championship. Elite Eight is great. Sweet 16 is great, but that's not where we want to end up at. That's not our end goal.
I think for me personally, it just encompasses why I chose to come to Tennessee, just because of the drive that Kelly had while recruiting me and knowing what she wanted her culture to be. So getting back to greatness, being in Elite Eight, being in the Final Four, all of those things is what she's strived from day one. That's what she's told me. So it really just encompasses that for me.
Doug Feinberg, the AP. Rickea, you're a transfer portal success story. You've had a great career so far in Tennessee. There's probably 1,000 names in the portal already, if not soon enough. What advice would you give people in that portal? Not everyone's situation is the same, but you've gone through it. So what would you think is you would say to players out there who are looking to transfer or in the portal already?
Right. I would definitely have to say, go where you see fit. Don't just go, where someone just, go deep in a tournament. Make sure you fit there. Look at the offense, make sure that's something that you're able to play in. You can't have that same high school mentality that you had, coming out of high school, you only know so much about college basketball. So it's okay, I'm going to go here. It's a big name school. But me having experience at Mississippi State and things like that, I definitely want to just come to a healthier environment, an environment that just wants the best for you, outside of basketball. Make sure your coach doesn't just care for basketball. They care for you after basketball. So I would definitely have to say just let them focus on outside of basketball, because one day the ball will stop bouncing. So you have to have goals and aspirations outside of that as well.
Reminder, if you're in the Zoom room, please use the raise your hand function, and we will get to you if you have a question. Otherwise, we'll stay in the room. Mara.
Mara with the Seattle Sports Commission. You mentioned some of the team goals, and the ultimate end game is to win a few games and make it to the end here. You're about to step onto the court for practice. Do you have any personal goals that you have that you're going to help push the team forward to make it to the next round and the next round and the next round? Are they stats driven, or are they tangible or intangible? So what are you working on individually to help with the team?
Well, our goal from the few games that we played in is just being a great teammate, being there for one another, because things are going to happen when somebody's going to get scored on. Somebody, mistakes is going to happen. But if you have, you have this person to the left of you, this person to the right of you, this person to the left of you. I'm sorry. They have your back. It makes it a lot easier to get. It's all right. You know what I meant. I was giving your left and right. I was gonna be a left
Stage
right.
left,
You know what I
stage right.
mean? But if I know my teammates have my back, at the end of the day, it's gonna be a lot easier to get through things together. So just just being a great teammate and just taking it in a moment, because not every team is blessed with this opportunity. So just being able to be present and just have a great experience no matter what.
I think just continuing to defend. I think a lot of things that I do are already intangible, so just continuing to play my game and get everybody going, get everybody hyped. Just do whatever I can to help my team win.
In the back?
Yeah, David Cunningham, Tech sideline to your left. Jordan, what have you? Your coach was up here earlier and mentioned that some of the struggles you guys faced early in the season, not every team would have been able to overcome it. What has helped this group stick together? And right now, heading into tomorrow's Sweet 16 game, what do you like most about the way you guys are playing?
To answer your question, the first part of the question, I feel like, no, I do not believe a lot of teams, if they went through the same thing that we went through, they would be here. I feel like, we had each other. When we were down, we had each other. We went into each other. We never wavered. We knew that, things were going to get hard, but we can't quit. We can't give up. It made us work even harder. And then two, what was the second part of the question? I'm sorry. How excited am I? Oh, how excited am I that we're playing well? I'm very happy that we're playing well. It's great timing, right? It's the end of the season. Things are coming together. I gave an analogy to somebody early on. I was like, take it like this. So you get a puzzle, right? When you buy a puzzle, the puzzle pieces, they're not put together when you first get it. So how can you take a team that's fairly new and expect that have this masterpiece as soon as you get the puzzle? You gotta, find the pieces. You gotta see where this piece fits, where that piece doesn't fit. See how people play. I feel like that's been what happened. We had to figure things out early on to create this masterpiece, and I'm so excited to see the finished product. But we're not finished yet. We still got a couple games left.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Well, Jordan, now I'm curious if you do a lot of puzzles in your free time.
Listen, actually in the bubble, I did complete some puzzles, so fun fact.
What I was really going to ask was if you could tell us about the contraption that you have on that was beeping when you first
Oh, you talking about
down?
the Venom?
Yeah.
So this is not a paid advertisement. Sponsor me if you would like, but this is the Venom. This is what gets me through my life, okay? They have back venoms. They have knee. JoJo got one on. Every athlete should get it. Don't sponsor me though. It's okay. It's like heat, and it has like this vibration.
Yeah.
Like some, I don't know.
Like pulses and
Feels like a little massage gun, and it warms up. So Venom, if y'all trying to do something, hit me up.
Come to Mark up front.
For any of you, you lost to him 59-56 at your place in December. What has to be different or better for the outcome to be different this time around?
Just looking at that game now, we had some people missing, and now we're missing Tamari Key. But I think that where we're at right now and how we're playing will make up for a lot of that. But I do think that our defense, with the way that their guards shooting and the way that Kitley's been playing, that has to be better, as well as rebounding. But those are all things that we've been focusing on, and I think that we'll do fine with that.
Cora?
I feel like each of you have a different reason to be a little extra motivated for tomorrow's game. Rickea didn't get to play in the first matchup. Jordan, you didn't play in the Sweet 16 last year, and Jordan, you didn't. It's your last year. How would you describe your mindset and how those reasons maybe motivate you a little bit more going to the game tomorrow?
This just go mode. This my last dance, so I want to win, and that's really what's motivating me. I want to win. I want to see our team do well. So, I want to do whatever it takes to make that happen.
Same. This is the end of the year. It's the end of the win or go home, and I'm not ready to go home.
Yeah, and I just want to make up for not being there for my teammates when we were playing them last time. So we definitely gonna handle business though.
We have to introduce ourselves every time. Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. For any of you, so there's 12 women coaches in the Sweet 16. And there's 3 black women, right? I'm curious, any of you can answer this. What is that like to see more women in coaching and having the success, more women of color? And is it important, and if so, why?
I think it is important, just because, I have aspirations of wanting to coach, so to be able to see, Dawn Staley's and Coach Yo's in those positions, it's just like, wow, like, little black girls, they can do it too. So I think it's really inspiring. It just makes you want to push harder because, the foot is in the door. So now with 3 in the NCAA Sweet 16 round right now, what can it be later on down the line?
Women running the real. Let's go.
Other questions? Doug?
Doug Feinberg, the AP. I don't know if you guys saw last night the punch in the Memphis Bowling Green handshake line. And I'm just curious. I mean, it seems that things like that and the Haley Van Lith thing get blown up more than what you guys do on the court. So I'm curious as players, is it frustrating that people pay more attention to things that aren't really basketball related and that shouldn't be celebrated or discussed more than what you guys have done or what other teams have done on the court?
I would like to focus our questions on just basketball. I'm sorry, we don't really want to talk about that type of stuff, respectfully.
We get time for one more question. We'll come back here.
Yeah, Jerry Brewer from the Washington Post. I wanted to ask y'all, if you had an unlimited green light, do you think you put up 19 threes in a game? Can you over-respect, Georgia's ability to pull from anywhere?
I mean, you're going to have to respect it because she's going to pull it regardless, so you're going to have to respect it.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely has a super green light. All of them do. I watched the press conference, and he's really confident in his players and their abilities, so that's really good for them. But like Jordy said, you have to respect it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, confidence is a dangerous weapon, and not many people know, like, how much confidence goes into things like that. Like, if you don't have the confidence, then you're not going to do that. And clearly their confidence is through the roof. So I'm pretty sure that's something that we want to, make lower. Like, we don't want them to get hot and things like that. So we just have to focus on what we do on the defensive end.
Jordan, and Rickea, thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Next press conference with Virginia Tech will be at 2 o'clock.